Good morning students and welcome to our YouTube channel Gnan Manjari Modern School. In the previous video we have just completed the chapter number 10. Now in this video we are just going through the chapter number 13, that is chemical effects of the current. So what are the chemical effects? Let us see that first of all. Here, that is electric current in liquid. Electric current in liquid, that is the first topic which is given in your book, that is electric current in liquid. So first of all let us define the electric conductors. What are electric conductors? Let us see that. Electric current in liquids. Okay, so there is first definition given of the electric conductors. What are they? So here electric conductors are those substances that allow the flow of electric current through them. So electrical conductors, electrical conductor are those substances that allows the flow of electric current through them. Okay, so first of all, electric conductors, we have seen what are electric conductors. If I say that metals are the electric conductor. Why they are electric conductors? Because they just allowed the electricity to pass from that. So the substance which allowed the electricity to pass through it is known as the electric conductor. We have seen when there is a shock and circuit, then it is said that use a wooden thing or don't throw water in that. Okay, we have to just use the foam. We don't have to use the water to just control the electric shock or electrical fire. Okay students, so moving further, we know that metals like copper and silver are good conductors of electric current. Did you know that electric current can also pass through some liquids? This means some liquids are good electrical conductors. Let us see how it is. This is possible. So for that there is an activity given. See here, to observe that the tap water is good conductor of electricity. Here in this activity, what is to be done? You have to take a beaker full of the tap water. Then after, what you have to do? You have to connect this with a battery, and there is a bulb. Okay, there is a bulb. Okay, then here I am just writing bulb. So this is the tap water. Okay, this is the tap water. This is positive and this is negative and this is a battery. So it will allowed to pass the electricity from it, so the bulb will glow. Okay, if it will not be allowed to pass electricity, the bulb will not glow. Okay students, let us see further or reading this activity. Here a plastic cup, a 9-volt cell, insulated copper wire, a light emitting diode means LED, and tap water. Connect this wire as shown in the figure. Make sure that you connect the longer lead of the LED to the positive terminal and terminal of the 9-volt battery. Then after, dip the free ends of the two wires in the water. Make sure that the free ends of the wire does touch each other under the water. Then after, what you will observe, that is observation and discussion. You will see that the LED lights up, so you know that an electric current cannot pass to the circuit unless it is complete. Then after, yet you can see from the picture that the free ends of the two wires are not touched to each other, which should means that the circuit is not complete, and electric current can pass through such a setup only if the water is the plastic cup provided a conducting path. Then after conclusion, this means the electric current is passing through the tap water and LED is lighting up. Okay, so the next question is, now the next question that may arise in your mind is, can an electric current pass through all liquids? To find out this, you need to perform the following activity. Here, our next question. This is tap water. Means now in next question what would be? Then they are just telling that your next question will be all the liquids allows the electricity to pass through it. Then let us see that activity is given. In that activity, one by one, we have to take all the liquids and you have to note down that which just liquid just allowed to pass the electricity one by one. Okay. Then after, to test if electric current can pass through different liquids, use an almost similar setup like a previous activity to test if the electric current can pass through the different liquids. Here are some examples of the liquids you can use: distilled water, coconut oil, ghee, milk, salt water, lemon juice, etc. The liquid that you will experiment with here can be taken in a plastic cup of a water bottle instead of a plastic cup. Repeat this experiment for all the liquids you have collected. Record your findings in a table like the one given below. Do not use the inflammable liquids like kerosene, petrol and diesel for this activity because they are flammable. They will just directly take the fire. Okay. Then after note. Yes, here record your findings in a table like the one given below. Okay, so here what they are telling, does it allow electricity to pass through? Yes or no? You have to take first of all distilled water, then after coconut oil, then after ghee, then milk, lemon juice, salt water, vinegar. So from which the electricity will be passed and from which the electricity will not pass. So I am just giving you in homework that from this, in which liquid does the electricity will pass. I am just tell you answer in the next video. You just confirm that answers. Discussion and conclusion. You will find that some liquids allow an electricity to pass through them and the LED will glow in each case. Other liquids like this does not allow electricity to pass through them. An important point to note it is that pure water does not allow the electricity to pass through it, whereas tap water does. This is because the water is not entirely pure and contains many dissolved salts. Okay. Here, did you know? It is given, that is, you have already known that the metals are good conductors of electricity. They are also good conductors of electricity in the liquid state. However, when metals conduct electricity even in the liquid state, the charge carriers are electrons and not ions. Therefore, unlike electrolysis, when we pass an electric current through the metal, there is no chemical effect. Then after, some fruits and vegetables conducts electricity just like salt solution. You can also check if you can pass an electric current through the piece of fruit and vegetables like slices of banana and potatoes. Here you can see it is given in the figure, potato lights and LED. It is given, you can see. Then after, our next topic is electric shock. So first of all, what is electric shock? What is electric shock? In when you are small, when your mother and father just tell, don't go near to the switches. Why? With the wet hand. Why? Because it can just cause you the electric shock. So they are telling that, okay students, so further, what is electric shock? Means when you having the wet hands or anything else with, you have just hold an iron thing and you just go near to the electric switch and you just do just keep inside the pin, then it can get you a electric shock. And it can be of minimum voltage also, it can be of high voltage also. So if it is high voltage, then it can damage your body, and if it is minimum voltage, then it cannot damage to your body. Let us see that. When you touch an electrical appliances, you should be very careful and make sure that your hands are dry, because we get an electric shock if you touch an electric appliances with wet hands, as shown in the figure 13.2. This reason for this is the following. Even though pure water is bad conductor of electricity, some impurities like salt can make it a good conductor. The water that you commonly come across is tap water, so it allows the electricity to pass through it. Okay students, then after, it is almost always contaminated with dissolved salts. This makes commonly available water a good conductor of electricity. Therefore, when you touch an electrical appliances, if there is an electric current leak, the current can easily flow to your hands through the water. This results in an electric shock. To understand why an electric current can pass through some liquids but not in other, we have to learn a little about how an electric current can flow through substance, both solids and the liquids. Here, in the electric shock, what they are just telling, we know that a figure is given. When you are having the wet hands, then what happens? When you just go near to the switch or just touch that switch with your wet hand, then it can get you electric shock. Why it can get you electric shock? Because we just commonly use the tap water. Why we use tap water? For the hand wash, for the bathing, then all the things we just use the tap water. So tap water have some salts dissolved in it which is not harmful to us. So what happens? There is a tap water on your hand. When you just touch the switch or a pin which is there with on, then it can get you electric shock. Why? Because you are having the water on your hand which is tap water and which is good conductor of electricity. And here they are also saying that some of the solids and some of the liquids allowed to pass the electricity. And why it just allowed to pass the electricity? Because there are some of the characteristics or some of the nature of it, so it allows to pass the electricity. Okay, let us see that. So, how electric current flows? How the electric current flows? Let us see that. That is, in order to understand how electric current flows in a medium, we have to first understand what material is the medium made up of. So, first of all, if we know that is the marker or is this my watch, it's allowed to pass an electricity, yes or no? So first of all we have to know that the material is made up of what. then after we can say that it will allow to pass electricity or it will not allow to pass the electricity. Let us see that matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms. Here so how electric current flows. So for that, here it is given metals is made up of metals is made up of tiny particles called atoms. So here we just talk about the atom, that what is atom. The smallest particle of any element is known as the atom. Okay students, so first of all we have to know that matter, what is matter? Matter is made up of tiny particles called atoms. Okay students, moving further, it is atoms contains charged particles. Charged particles are of two types, positive and the negative. Then after, these charged particles are generally tight held in an atom and are not free to move around by themselves. Then after, in some cases like in metals, charged particles can move freely. An electric current can flow in a material that has charge that can move freely within the volume of the material. Charges that can move freely through the materials are referred to as a charge carriers. In metals, the charge carried are tightly negative charge particles called the electrons. And now let us look at the liquid like tap water and the salt water. Some liquids have free charge particles that can move, thus makes it possible for an electric current to flow through them. Then after, let us take the example of common salt, that is sodium chloride, that is NaCl. Then it is when sodium chloride dissolve in water, the sodium and the chlorine break up. They break up in such a way that sodium gets a positive charge and chlorine gets a negative charge. Then after, these charged particles are called the ions. So here they have given a definition of the ions, that is what are the ions. Ions are atoms or group of atoms carrying a charge, Here, what is ion? Ion are atoms or groups of atoms carrying a charge. Here, what are ions? The ions are of positive and the negative, and it is formed by the ions are formed a atom. Okay students, and moving further, and in this also they have said that it is depend upon the atom. It is tightly packed or it is free to move. The atoms means, if I take a substance in which the atoms are tightly packed and they are not allowed to move through it, then electric current cannot pass. And if the metals, in such some of the metals just allowed the electricity to pass, why? Because the atoms are free, which can move from one place to another place, so the electric current can pass from this side to the other side or this side to the this side. Okay students, moving further, in liquid like acid, base and salt dissolved in water, electric current flows because of the movement of the ions. And we have seen in the earlier classes that when electric current flows through a conductor, it produces heating and magnetic effect. In this chapter, we will learn that when an electric current passes through a liquid containing ions, it also results in a chemical reaction. Here, in the previous class or on the previous things, we have also seen that when an conductor, when a solid conductor, when it is passed the electricity, it produces two things. That is, first thing, that is heated, it is just heated, and the second thing, that is magnetic effect. It just affects like a magnetic. Okay, so these two things happen. Okay students, now moving forward, and here they have said that in this we will see, what we will see, electric current in liquid. So in liquid what happens, it just, what will do, it will just react by the chemically. So in the solid what happens, it just pass the electricity and it is heated up, and the second thing, that it produces the magnetic effect, and in this it takes a chemical reaction inside it. Okay students, let us see that. Okay students, here our time has happened to just complete the video, so I am just giving you homework. So in homework what you just do is, you just have to first of all find out that activities, that which liquid will allow the electric current to pass through it and which liquid not allow the electricity to pass through it. And the second one, what you just do is, definitions of electrical conductors, then after matters, how the matter is made up of, which I have just told, that is atoms. Then after the ions. Okay, so this all the things. And also one question, why we get electric shock when our hands are wet. Okay, why we get the electric shock when our hands are wet? Okay students, so this is your homework. You have to just find out that you have to first of all write the electric currents and ions, about the ions and the atoms, and also the second thing, that was activity which I have given, that which liquid will allow to pass the electric current, that. And here, why we get electric shock when our hands are wet. Okay students, we will meet in the next video. Bye students.